Well, over the last 48 hours, we have seen an absolute masterclass of how to handle the lefty media in Australia. This masterclass was held by two Americans, one on Australian soil and the rest via Skype back home in America. The first is Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene. She's a big Trump supporter. She's a Republican through and through. And funnily enough, I can't believe this either, the ABC's Sarah Ferguson decided to have Marjorie on her show last night to talk about Julian Assange. Or so she said. Here's a little bit of how it went.
You've never accepted the results of the 2020 presidential election. Indeed, you've lionised people for the attack on the Capitol.
Aren't we talking about Julian Assange?
Well,
Sarah, are you even a serious interviewer? I thought we're talking about Julian Assange here today.
We are.
That's what you were asking me to come on your Australian news show. I don't usually do interviews like this because people like you can't be taken seriously.
I love it. She was basically like, I'm not playing ball. You asked me on to talk about Julian Assange. None of this has to do with Julian Assange. And this went on for several minutes because that American woman, that Congresswoman, wasn't taking a bar of it from the ABC's Ferguson. Just hours earlier, we've got Tucker Carlson in Australia at the moment, as you may be aware. He was in Canberra answering some questions from the press, and he was copying a bit more of the same, and once again showed us how it's done.
And in the past, you've talked about how white Australians, Americans, Europeans are being replaced by non-white immigrants in what is often referred to as the Great Replacement Theory. This is the same.
Have I said that whites are being replaced?
Well,
I don't think I said that.
Well, it's been mentioned on your show 4,000 times. And
really, when did I say that?
On your show.
I said whites are being replaced?
You have said that before.
Really?
Yeah.
I would challenge you to cite that because I'm pretty sure I haven't said that. I said native-born Americans are being replaced, including blacks.
I'm sorry to say it did not get any better from this reporter at the AAP.
So we just met, but when our relationship starts with a lie, it makes it tough to be friends. So
well, you've been lying about it.
How do they get people this stupid in the media? I guess it doesn't pay well. How dare you try to tie me to some lunatic who murdered people? How dare you, actually? And in fact, do you know what I mean?
And sadly, Tucker was left with no other option to conclude with this banger.
I just feel sorry. Because I got here and the country's so unbelievably beautiful and the people are so cheerful and funny and cool and smart. I'm like, your media's got to be better than ours. It can't just be a bunch of castrated robots reading questions from the boss. And then it turns out it's exactly the same, maybe even a tiny bit dumber.
Castrated robots reading questions from the boss. I didn't think I could love Tucker Carlson more than I already do, and yet that is pure poetry.
I take offence to that. I am not a robot.